I'm in Washington, D.C. on the trail of Dan Brown's lost symbol. I want to know if there's any truth in its claims that America is and always has been in the grip of Masonic power.
Mr. Robinson.
Yes, hello.
Welcome to the Hotel Helix. How are you?
Very well.
Good. Here you go. Here's your Dan Brown book.
I get this free?
Yes, it comes with your Dan Brown package.
Thank you very much.
You also get a map to help you navigate the different places in the book.
Thank you.
And definitely, DC has gone crazy for Dan Brown's lost symbol.
Obviously, yeah.
Your room is at the end of the hall and to the left for the elevator.
Thank you, Holland.
All right, you're very welcome. Enjoy your stay.
Will do. Dan Brown hysteria has taken over the town. Even the DC Tourist Board's website is emblazoned with lost symbol links and suggested city tours highlighting locations from the book. Washington Monument, Washington National Cathedral, Library of Congress. Too much information. I could start virtually anywhere. Almost the entire book set in Washington. But I mustn't get distracted. I'm going to begin at the beginning. And that's with George Washington and the Founding Fathers. The men who created the United States were political idealists. Their revolutionary and democratic ideas were common both to enlightened thinkers of the 18th century and to Freemasons, whose core values included fraternity, equality, and liberty. So could Masonic principles be at the heart of the American Revolution? This story doesn't start in Washington, D.C. In 1776, this place didn't exist. Back then, America was just 13 states administered from London. The locals were tired of paying tax to the British Crown without representation, and so the Revolutionary War began. Many Freemasons found themselves on the front line, fighting against their king. Throwing out the Brits was one thing, creating a nation from scratch was another. It was a unique opportunity to shake off the religion and monarchy of the old world and build a utopian society. But did the Founding Fathers have a Masonic agenda? I've come to where it all began, Philadelphia, capital of the new nation in the immediate aftermath of the Revolution. It's not often that you can walk into an American building and feel as though you can actually smell the history. But this place is an exception, because it was here in the old colonial Pennsylvania State House in the summer of the year 1776 that the United States of America itself was conceived. The colonial states were on the verge of announcing to the world not only their liberty, but also their destiny. All the men in this hall shared the revolutionary spirit, but some were Freemasons, perhaps there to stamp their mark on the political future of the United States. Dan Brown identifies a number of key founding fathers as Freemasons. Benjamin Franklin, the father of the Revolution, published the first book on Freemasonry in America. And he was later joined in the Brotherhood by none other than George Washington, the first president of the United States. Here in Alexandria, just a few miles from the White House, is George Washington's National Masonic Memorial. It commemorates Washington the Mason. It houses his Masonic possessions and a vast statue of him in apron and full regalia. So some Founding Fathers were Masons, but did they really have significant influence? Could these be the Masonic states of America? If so, we should be able to see the mark of Freemasons in their political statement of intent, the Declaration of Independence. If this is a Masonic plot, then it should be riddled with their language and ideas. This is it. This is the real Declaration of Independence. Unfortunately, it was kept in front of a fireplace with the sun blazing into the room for about 70 years. So it's degraded, and virtually the only thing that you can see is that hand mark down there which is the handmark of one of the founding fathers who really should have scrubbed up a bit before he signed the document. Fortunately, around about 1820, they made a copperplate copy of it, so we can actually still see what's written there. You see, about the third line from the top, there's the famous bit, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal." And then about 3 or 4 lines from the bottom, "They are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved." Resistance to the British Crown is hardly Masonic, but maybe I'm missing something. I meet with Akram Elias, a top-ranking Freemason, for another take on the document. You are a Mason, yeah?
I am.
Do you think the creation of America was a Masonic experiment?
I personally believe so. There are so many principles that we see in Freemasonry, and then we obviously see having influenced the shaping of the basic documents and of the way the country came to be.
I've seen the Declaration of Independence. I can't see anything Masonic in it. Am I being naive?
No, you're not being naive, but let me tell you, it's just you have to look very carefully. Here's a copy of the Declaration of Independence. Just look here, right here, the second line. "The law of nature and of nature's God." This is at the heart of the entire document. The founding fathers of our country, and more especially the Masons among them, believed in the natural order of the universe. And if you look carefully at the rituals of Freemasonry, more especially the Fellowcrafts ritual, there is a very important lecture.
This is something that's contained within the secret black book of the Masons?
Wouldn't call it the secret black book, but I would call it the ritual of Freemasonry.
It is secret and it is black.
Yes. This is part of the teachings in the second degree. It says that the entire endeavor is to imitate the divine plan, which manifests itself in nature.
Like the pursuit of happiness?
Oh, my God, you put your finger on the most important thing, the pursuit of happiness. Oh, absolutely, right here, inalienable right. The right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Our aim is to be happy and to work towards the promotion of happiness.
But is this really Masonic text, or just the utopian language of the day? One man holds the key. Here in his memorial, he stands high and proud, the intellectual father of the nation, Thomas Jefferson. He was the principal author of the Declaration of Independence, and his idealistic words are woven tightly into the very fabric of the United States. If America was anyone's vision, it was his. The progressive values Jefferson championed, liberty, equality, and representative democracy, were in tune with Freemasonry, as were his calls for universal education. This ideal was set in stone in the Library of Congress, which grew out of his own personal collection of books. In The Lost Symbol, the hero Robert Langdon takes refuge here, momentarily stalling his escape from the CIA to marvel at its architectural glory. Dan Brown says this is possibly the most beautiful building in the world. It's hard to argue with that, isn't it?
It's a shame not more people have seen it.
I know that the building was created at the end of the 19th century, but it does seem to bear the imprint of the Founding Fathers. Why was it so important that they should have a library?
Well, words were very important to them. Just look at the rough draft of the Declaration of Independence or the Constitution. But Jefferson said it best, they needed information. He said, there is no subject to which a member of Congress may not have occasion to refer. So, we're now entering the main reading room of the library.